Hello guys, welcome to CoderCrab. So today we'll see how to put queries, native queries inside our for our JPA functions, and that query will be executed and the result will be returned. Okay, so the thing is, why we're going to do that? Because sometimes it is not like only these functions which JPA repository is having would help us, right? So we need to put some custom queries to utilize our requirement. I mean to fulfill our requirement, right? So in order to do that, what we need to do is let's take an example. Let's say this is a table which we have, and I want those particular values which are having ADD. Like let's say in the address line, I want only which are having ADD, right? So for that reason, what I'll do is I'll use where address line 1 wildcard like single quote percentage add. Okay, so if I run this query, I'll get, okay, these are the values which are there, right? Similarly, if I'll utilize building, let's say building is there, right? So let's say somebody wants building, right? Building, then this will yield 3 results, right? So this kind of customized query I want. So let's take this query. I'll go back to our repository. So this is the repository, right? So here what we'll do is we will create a function which will be function declaration which will be returning that kind of result, right? So let's put address as return type, or it may be list because it may return more, right? So list of address. Okay, so now which function find by, I can give column name is, let's say add line contains something I have given. Okay, contains, right? So here I'll give the string which I'm going to pass, string the value to check. Okay, so okay, so now above it I'll put a query. Okay, inside the query I'll put value equals to this query, and here I'll be putting this value to check is colon. So that means it will be parameterized. Okay, and now native query equals to true. Okay, so list we don't have, so let's import this from the util package. Okay, so that's all here. Okay, so let's go and check it. I'll save it. Okay, good. Now we'll utilize this function in our services. Let's go to our service. Okay, so here it is a reader property, so I'm creating here, let's say after this I'll be creating public list of address read line 1 contains. Okay, so here I'll be reading this, let's say this some parameter would be coming, right? So what you want to read basically, right? Which address you want to, so that I'll be putting here. Okay, so let's put a string address like, okay, so this value would be a would be passed to this function as a parameter. Then we would be returning return repo dot find by address line contains. Okay, so this address like I am passing to this. Okay. Now our service is done. Now let's go back to controller. Let's go to controller, and here we will be putting a read operation. Let's say here. Okay. So get mapping, again I'll take the get mapping. I'll put copy paste it. Then here I'll be putting address of like contents. Okay. So here we'll be putting add line 1. Okay, so this value will be taking, this is a type of string we are expecting from the parameterization from the this value, and we'll be passing it here. Okay, so we will call this new function which we have created, line contents, right? And this would be list. Okay, so that's all. That is all. So basically we created a controller which would be passing our address line, and in services what we have done, in services we created a function, and in the repository we have added this query which would be running, right? So let's check. One thing we have missed here, we need to put the param, right? Param at param, here would be giving whatever the value you are passing this variable, right? Otherwise it will not, how would it know that, right? So let's put this. Okay. Okay. Now all set, right? Let's go to our postman. So let's create one more. I'll just duplicate this. Read all copy. Let's say get operation. Uh, read contents. Then itself this read contents, this one. Okay. Addresses. Let's check the path. What path we have given in the controller. The controller we have given address of like contents. Let's put the same thing here, slash the value. So we want, what do we want here to put? Building, right? So let's go and put the building. Okay, that's all. Let's hit. Okay, so you can see how many records came. Okay, 3 records came. You can see this, right, guys? Yeah, so here this is having building, this is having building, this is having building. If I'll put add, then 5 records have come, 6 records add which are having add here, right? In here add, here add, here add, right? So that's how we can put our custom query and we can get the results. Okay, clear on this one? So okay, so now let's see how we can write the same particular query with JPQL, right? So let me comment this out. Okay, so first, to write JPQL, we need to understand that in JPQL we need to write the entity part. Okay, we don't want to write the database thing, right? So this is the database table name, but we need to write the entity name, right? So and the entity variables as well, variable names as well. So similarly, I'll just write this. I'll copy the same thing, same function name here. Okay, and the query, same query tag. Here I don't have to put anything, directly we can put it. So we don't need this, we don't need this native query part true, right? We don't need that, even we don't need to define the value attribute. We just need to write the query. So this is optional, select, it is optional. So I'll just keep this nothing here. Then I'll just write from entity. So which entity we are going to use? The address entity, right? So let's get the entity name. So what is the entity name? It's the address, right? So let's take the entity name here. If you have defined, you have to take that name. Then here address, and I'm giving A as the entity alias. Okay. Then where A dot, what is the address line 1? So we are checking address line 1, right? So let's go here and check what is the address line 1. It is this variable. So let's take that part and come here. Then as usual, like operator, then percentage, then our variable name, colon variable name. Okay, so here I can put A, okay, to give the details of the complete set of the complete details of that particular entity. I mean all the values, right? So let's save it. Okay, now it is successfully started. Okay, so let's go to here, and this was the endpoint, right? So let's hit the send. Yes, same data, same output we are getting, right? So that is all how you can utilize the same thing in the JPQL. So the basic difference is here you are going to use the database objects, here you are going to use the entity details. Okay, that's all guys. Thank you. So now as we have put the named variables here, instead of param also we can utilize only variables, and here we can give a, instead of this colon and variable name, you can directly give this question mark number. Okay, let's say there are three values, you can put three values in the sequence, like let's say another value is there, so you can put, let's say, another string value, some string xyz, that also you can put here, string let's say x, and this string x will be there's, let's say there's another query, another condition, and something. So let's say this is the value, this is the key. So if you want to put another one, a dot city, let's say a dot city equals to question mark 2. So this value, this x value would be coming to here. So if you want to put city, it would be coming to here. The city value would be coming to here, and the first value would be coming. The sequence would be there, right? So this is how we can put uh, values without using the variable name or parameter annotation. Okay, so the same thing would be applied to the native query as well. So let's save it. Okay, so now it is started. So let's run this. Yes, similar thing, no difference. Okay, so that's how we can utilize either variable name like this with colon variable name, or we can utilize question mark sequence number. Now let's say I want to update something, right? So how do you utilize your query to update? Similar way, like just use the query and then here update your entity. So the entity would be same as, if you want to use SQL query, just like above, you can utilize table name also, but you need to mark it as native query. Okay, so next is address a sorry update, then set, let's say I want to set the address line to. So let's go to this model and find out the address line to variable name, and let's come back to the repository, put this one, and it's part of a dot, it equals to question mark 1. This is the first variable which I'm going to call with, right? So the next parameter would be this one. Okay, so now here we'll be writing our function, right? So let's say I just want to get back the number of rows updated, right? So I'll just put an integer return type and save address contents. Let's say contents. Here there will be two parameters required. First one is new address, which will go for question mark 1. Second one would be for question mark 2, right? So next one I will be putting comma string check char sequence, right? So I have just checked the character sequence, I mean this value, and if it is matching, then we will be putting this value, right? So this is our function for repository function for updating. So let's now go to the service and call this function. So we'll go to the service, and similarly how we are updating it, similarly we'll put another update function, public update contains. Here two values are needed, string new add, then string check sequence, right? So with these two values, what is the return type again? Same integer. Here what we'll be putting is return repo dot save address contains, right? Your new address, this sequence is sequence, right? So it is called here. Okay, services are fine. Now let's go to the controller. So in the controller, here is the thing. Here what we'll do, we'll create a separate routing. So let's put mapping, and let's put this similar like update address. I'll be putting one, let's say con. Okay, here I'll be putting public address update con. Similarly, at the rate of a request body. Okay, and here we are not going to use the model. Let's put only simple string, and here we'll be putting the request body, let's say req. Now let's take this one, and what is our return type? Return type would be simple string, let's say, and then here we'll be going to return let's say records updated. Okay, or number of records updated. Okay, so now before calling the service function, we need to get the request bodies, right? So let's say I'll take two string new address equals to req dot. Okay, as it is a string now, so we need to pass it. So let's pass this JSON object. We can directly use the JSON object. JSON object. Okay, let's say obj equals to new JSON object. Okay, here I can put the request. So now this object should be containing the requesting dot get string. So the first value, let's say new address. Second value is the character string, right? Character sequence. So same thing, let's put it here. Now with this service plus service dot update contains new address, character sequence. Okay, so that's all here. Go to the yes, right? So now that's all. So you have the controller designed, everything is fine. Okay, so let's go to the repository and see the body. Okay, so here two annotations we need to put. One is modifying, otherwise it will not allow us to modify, right? Modifying should be of type JPA, right? And another is transactional JavaX. Yeah, these two are you need to put. So once we'll put this one, let's go to the update. Okay, let me duplicate this update, or we can just I'll take this one and create a new request. Put this one update address. We have added con, right? Then put, right? Let's okay. So we've added this con and put, and here in the request body, let's put raw JSON here. Okay, I'll create the request body just like we have mentioned in the controller. This is one object, this one key. The value is, we'll check for add. Then next is char sequence. Here it is a, so here this will be match, right? ADD. So here ADD is there. We would be putting newly updated address. Okay, so let's put this one. Okay, that's all. And put record. Let's call. Okay, number of records updated 6. Okay, so let's go and check in this. So okay, this was the query. So let's say we'll check this one. Okay, newly updated address, right? Newly updated address is updated. Okay, for those. So let's say you want to update for building, right? Building, and you want to update for newly updated building, right? So let's update. Let's 3 records. Let's see. Yes, right? So that's all. That's how you should be using your update query. So I'll be updating this project to the GitHub. So from there you can fetch it and practice. Thank you.